Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Let's get started and look into our daily quiz. Before we start with our today's practice questions, we have an announcement. We have uploaded one of our videos on our YouTube channel called as the Places in News. The time period for which the places in news would be covered is from 11th of April up until 17th of April. Please do look into it, like these videos, share it with your fellow aspirants. Let's get started and look into the first question. Consider the following statements with respect to National Investigation Agency. NIA has the power to investigate scheduled offences committed outside India. NIA can investigate terror cases across the country without having to get permission from the states. Which of the statements given above are correct? The answer to this is both. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Hindu makes a reference to the National Investigation Agency. Let us try and understand what are these options. When we look into the first option, NIA has the power to investigate scheduled offences committed outside India. This is a right statement. When we look into the original act as it was envisaged back in the year 2008, it allowed the National Investigation Agency to investigate and prosecute offences within India. But we had an amendment. According to the amendment, it clearly goes on to say that if we have an agreement with another country with respect to international treaties and domestic laws of other countries, and if we have such agreements, we would also be able to investigate in another country. So the amended act empowered the agency to investigate offences committed outside India. So when you look into the amended act, it says where the central government is of the opinion that a scheduled offences has been committed at any place outside India to which this act extends, it may direct the agency to register the case and take up investigation as if such offence has been committed in India. But do remember, this is subject to international treaties and domestic laws of other countries. Now, if you look into the second option says NIA can investigate terror cases across the country without having to get permission from the states. This once again is the right statement. Why? That is because when you look into this particular law, the National Investigation Agency was established in a concurrent jurisdiction framework, and as a result, it need not have to take the permission from the states. What are the cases that NIA would be able to investigate? Originally, it was able to investigate cases under the Atomic Energy Act, the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, the Anti-Hijacking Act of 1982. But the amendment has allowed the NIA to investigate in addition human trafficking, counterfeit currency or banknotes, manufacture or sale of prohibited arms, cyber terrorism, offences under the Explosive Substances Act of 1908. So it need not have to take the permission from the state governments to investigate any of the cases with respect to these items mentioned in the schedule. Now let's look into the next practice question. The Constitution Bench of the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the pavement dwellers in which amongst the following cases: MC Mehta versus Union of India, Olga Tellis and others versus Bombay Municipal Council, Samatha versus the state of Andhra Pradesh, SP Mittal versus the Union of India. The answer to this is Olga Tellis and others versus Bombay Municipal Council. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Hindu makes a reference to the pavement dwellers. First, let us try and understand who are these pavement dwellers, what is the difference between the slum dwellers and the pavement dwellers, and we will understand in brief what is this Olga Tellis case all about. When we speak about the pavement dwellers, these are the people who live on the pavements. They may live under the bridges, flyovers, they may live near the bus stops, near the police station, in the parking lots, and these people can also live on the roads that we walk. So those people who make their livelihood, who live on the roads, are called as the pavement dwellers. What is the difference between the pavement dwellers as well as the slum dwellers? When it comes to the slum dwellers, they inhabit vacant pieces of land, but when it comes to the pavement dwellers, they literally reside on the sidewalks of the city, on the road, so on and so forth. So there is a slight difference between the pavement dwellers as well as the slum dwellers. What is the landmark judgment given by the Supreme Court, the Constitution Bench of the Supreme Court, in the Olga Tellis case? We had certain section of people who were living on the pavements. Then we have the Bombay Municipal Council, which comes up to this particular area. They they asked these people to evacuate as they were occupying these pavements. As a result, they go up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court in this particular case goes on to say, yes, these people occupying this particular area may not be right. But at the same time, the state also has the responsibility to provide accommodation. So the Supreme Court in this particular case made a ruling that it is mandatory for the authorities to provide alternative accommodation to these pavement dwellers if their places were demolished. Yes, they may not have the right to occupy the pavements, but the state has the responsibility to take care of its citizens. So you provide an alternative accommodation, provide them the shelter, and right to shelter is a fundamental right under Article 21, said the Supreme Court of India. So basically, the Supreme Court of India clearly brought within the ambit of 21 the right to shelter and the right to livelihood, which also gave a new dimension of socio-economic attribute. So one of the landmark judgments where pavement dwellers were taken into consideration happens to be Olga Tellis and others versus Bombay Municipal Council, where right to shelter became part of the fundamental right under Article 21. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following pairs. We have the dispute on one side, the countries involved in dispute on the other side. Aegean dispute, Greece and Turkey. Chagos Islands dispute, Mauritius and United Kingdom. Falkland Islands, Argentina and France. Which of the above pairs are correctly matched? The answer to this is 1 and 2 only. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Hindu makes a reference to the Falkland Islands issue. When we look into the first option, Aegean dispute, yes, it is a dispute between Greece and Turkey. Chagos Island dispute, yes, it is a dispute between Mauritius and United Kingdom. But Falkland Islands dispute is not between Argentina and France, but instead it is between Argentina and United Kingdom. Where is it located? It is located in this part of the South Atlantic Ocean, and it is close by to Argentina. When we look into the background to this particular Falkland issues, since the 18th century, the Falklands Island, which is located off the coast of Argentina, had number of colonial powers ruling this particular place. It was occupied by the French, it was occupied by people from the United Kingdom, the Great Britain, and it was also colonized by Spain as well. Prior to 1700s, the islands was uninhabited. France stepped into this particular area first, followed by multiple other colonial powers as well, and over a period of time, it was United Kingdom which started governing the Falkland Islands. But then after a considerable period of time, there were negotiations between Argentina and United Kingdom. Argentina said that this is off the coast of Argentina, we would want to take control of this particular area. However, because this particular area was captured by United Kingdom, there were large number of people from United Kingdom who were residing in the Falkland Islands. They were against this particular move. They did not want the negotiations to take place between Argentina and United Kingdom, and they want the sovereignty of Falkland Islands to remain with the United Kingdom. As a result, the negotiations that were taken up number of times did not become successful. But in the year 1982, what we had was a war in the form of Falkland Islands War. In this particular war, Argentina plans to take over this particular island, but after a considerable period of time, we have the United Kingdom which was able to take over this particular land once again. So remember, the Falkland Islands is a dispute between Argentina and United Kingdom, and it is currently under the administration of United Kingdom, where Argentina is asking that this particular island should be handed over to Argentina. That is what is this dispute all about. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following statements are correct with respect to Humpbacked Mahseer? It is found only in the Kaveri River Basin. Its IUCN status is critically endangered. Which of the statements are correct? The answer to this is both. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Hindu makes a reference to Humpbacked Mahseer fish. When we speak about this particular fish, this fish is a large freshwater fish. It is found only in the Kaveri River Basin, and this this particular fish also grows up to 1.5 meters in length, and it weighs about 55 kgs as well, and it is also known as the tiger of the water. That is because the minute it is captured, it puts up a long fight so that it does not get captured and wants to get relieved and go back to its home, the water. Since it is called as tiger of water, since it is also dwindling in numbers, this particular IUCN status is currently critically endangered. What are the threats to these species? Destructing fishing methods, building up of the dams that have reduced the flow in the river, sand mining that has affected the riverbed. There is loss of the spawning grounds as well. Sewage and other pollutants that have directly been dumped into this particular river has also brought down the dissolved oxygen levels in the water, and ultimately its numbers are dwindling, which is why it is placed under critically endangered section. Now let's look into the next practice question. With reference to India, Didwana, Kuchman, Sargol and Katu are the names of glaciers, mangrove areas, Ramsar sites, saline lakes. The answer to this is saline lakes. This happens to be a previous year question from the year 2021. Yes, Didwana, Kuchman, Sargal and Katu are the saline lakes, and as part of the assignment you have to put on the comment section in which part of the country, in which state are these saline lakes located in. Now let's look into the fact of the day. The fact of the day for today's discussion is Al-Aqsa Mosque. Where is this Al-Aqsa Mosque located? It is located in Old City of Jerusalem, and it happens to be one of the holiest sites in Islam. So the Al-Aqsa Mosque is one of the holiest structures in the Islamic faith. The mosque sits at a 35-acre site known for the Muslims as the Haram al-Sharif, or the noble sanctuary, and by the Jews as the Temple Mount. The site is also part of the Old City of Jerusalem, sacred to the Christians, Jews as well as Muslims. When we speak about the Al-Aqsa Mosque, it can hold up to 5,000 worshippers. It is believed to have been completed early in the 8th century, and it also faces the Dome of the Rock. Muslims consider this entire compound to be holy. Then we have the Jews. The Jews also consider this particular place as holy as well, and according to Hebrew, it is also called as Har Hebayit, and it happens to be one of the holiest place because it is the site of two ancient temples for the Jews. The first was built by King Solomon according to the Bible. Later it was destroyed by the Babylonians, and the second stood for nearly 600 years before it was destroyed by the Roman Empire in the 1st century. And from the preliminary examination point of view, the UNESCO has clarified the Old City of Jerusalem and its wall as the World Heritage Site. Why was it classified as a World Heritage Site? Because of the outstanding international importance and also deserves protection, which is why UNESCO placed it as part of the World Heritage Site. Who has control over this mosque? Under a delicate status quo arrangement, an Islamic trust known as the Waqf, funded and controlled by Jordan, continues to administer the Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock, and Israeli security forces maintain a presence on the site, and they also coordinate with the Waqf as well. Jews and Christians are allowed to visit this particular place, but unlike Muslims, they are prohibited from praying on the grounds under the status quo arrangement. It is this that we have to understand in reference to this article. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.